Have you ever felt completely stuck, like you're facing a mountain you just can't climb? You've looked everywhere for a way out, asked everyone you know for help, but every door seems to be shut. In those moments of deep despair, when you feel utterly alone and forgotten, there's a powerful promise to hold on to. God says, "I will send help from places you don't expect." It's a profound and comforting thought, isn't it? Our human perspective is limited. We tend to look for solutions in familiar places. We expect help to come from our family, our closest friends, our bank account, or our own abilities. But what happens when all those sources run dry? What happens when the people we thought would be there for us are unable or unwilling to help? That S, often the very moment when divine intervention is about to break through in the most astonishing way. Think about the stories in the Bible. They are filled with examples of God sending help from the most unlikely sources. When the prophet Elijah was hiding in the wilderness, starving and alone, who did God send to feed him? Not a wealthy merchant or a sympathetic family. He sent ravens, birds, an animal considered unclean in that culture. Every morning and every evening, these birds brought him bread and meat. Can you imagine the surprise on Elijah's face? He was probably looking for a human traveler, a sign of a nearby settlement. But help came from the sky, delivered by a creature he would have least expected. This wasn't a one-time thing. Later, when a severe famine struck the land, God sent Elijah to a widow in a foreign town called Zarephath. She wasn't a wealthy benefactor. In fact, she was at her absolute lowest point, gathering sticks to make one final meal for herself and her son before they expected to die of starvation. From a human standpoint, she was the last person who could offer help. She needed help herself. Yet, she was God's chosen vessel of provision, not just for Elijah, but for her own household too. Through her act of faith, her small jar of flour and jug of oil never ran out for the duration of the famine. Help came from a place of utter lack, from a person who seemed to have nothing to give. What did these stories teach us? They teach us that God's resources are not limited by our circumstances. His ways are not our ways. He sees possibilities where we see dead ends. He can turn a situation of scarcity into one of abundance. He can use the most unconventional means to accomplish his purposes. Maybe you're in a financial crisis right now. You've applied for loans, you've looked for extra work, and nothing is panning out. You might be focused on traditional financial institutions, but what if God's help is going to come from a completely different direction? It could be a long-lost friend who suddenly reaches out. It could be an unexpected refund check in the mail. It could be a new business idea that seemingly drops into your mind out of nowhere. God's creativity is infinite. He isn't bound to the banking system. He owns everything, and he can move resources in ways we can't even fathom. Or perhaps you're facing a health challenge. The doctors have given you a grim prognosis, and the medical reports all seem to point in one direction. It's natural to put all your hope in the hands of the medical experts, but God can bring healing from unexpected places too. It might be a new treatment you learn about from an obscure article. It could be a change in diet that a friend of a friend recommends. It could even be a moment of spontaneous healing that defies all medical explanation. While we should be grateful for doctors and medicine, our ultimate hope shouldn't rest in them alone. Our ultimate hope is in the one who created our bodies and who can command healing from any source, expected or not. The same is true for our relationships and emotional struggles. When you're feeling heartbroken or lonely, you might expect comfort to come from your inner circle. But sometimes, the people closest to us are too wrapped up in their own lives to give us the support we need. In those times, God might send a stranger to say a kind word that lifts your spirits. He might lead you to a book or a sermon that speaks directly to your heart. He might bring a new person into your life who understands your pain in a way no one else has. Help can come in the form of a quiet conversation with someone you barely know, or a moment of peace you find while walking in nature. God knows exactly what our hearts need, and He knows who and what to send to meet that need. One of the most beautiful things about unexpected help is that it leaves no doubt about where it came from. When a solution arrives in a way that is so far outside the realm of normal probability, so illogical, so perfectly timed, you can't help but look up and say, "That had to be God." It builds our faith in a way that predictable help never could. It stretches our understanding of who God is and what He is capable of. It reminds us that He is not a distant, passive observer, but an active, involved, and wonderfully creative Father. Joseph's story is a perfect example of this. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and unjustly thrown into prison, his situation looked hopeless. Who could possibly help him from the depths of an Egyptian dungeon? He certainly didn't expect his ticket out to be his ability to interpret the dreams of a forgotten cupbearer. And he surely didn't expect that skill to bring him before Pharaoh himself, leading to him becoming the second most powerful man in Egypt. God used a prison, a forgotten servant, and a couple of bad dreams to orchestrate one of the greatest rescue missions in history, saving not only Joseph, but his entire family and the whole nation from famine. The help came from the most unexpected of places and in the most unexpected of ways. So, if you are in a waiting period right now, feeling discouraged because the help you've been praying for hasn't arrived in the way you anticipated, take heart. Don't put God in a box. Don't limit Him to your own expectations. Lift your eyes from the empty hands of the people and systems you thought would save you and look to Him. He is working behind the scenes, lining up a solution that you may not see coming. Your part is to remain faithful. Keep trusting, keep praying, and keep your heart open. Sometimes we miss the unexpected help because it doesn't look like what we were expecting. The raven might look like just a bird. The poor widow might look like just another person in need. A new acquaintance might seem like a random encounter. We must have the spiritual sensitivity to recognize God's hand when it moves in unconventional ways. Practice gratitude for what you already have, even if it feels small, like the widow's jar of flour. Take the next small step of obedience, even if it doesn't make sense, like Elijah going to a starving widow for food. Maintain your integrity, even when no one is watching, like Joseph did in prison. Your faithfulness in the small things positions you to receive the big breakthrough. Remember this promise today and hold it close to your heart. God says, "I will send help from places you don't expect." He has 1,000 ways to provide for you, 1,000 ways to make a way where there is no way. The source of your help may not be on your radar at all, but it is on His. He is faithful, He is powerful, and His timing is perfect. Your breakthrough is coming. It might just arrive from a direction you never thought to look. Thank you for watching. If this message encouraged you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content to strengthen your faith. Remember, you are never alone.